Hello and welcome! Tonight on the show, us dum-dums talk about yum-yum and its num-num in our tum-tum. Thank you for joining us. This is Sauce Spoken.
And we're back. We are Sauce Spoken. We are the podcast detailing your favorite sauces, dips, and condiments. I'll be your host today. My name's Adam, and I'm joined here today with my co-host, Tori.
Hi, hello. Thank you for joining us. Yes, my name is Tori, and to my right, as always, the very adequately dressed E.
Adequately dressed. I know. I'm like, what does that mean?
I'm trying out something new here. Just bear with me.
Well, I appreciate that, Tori. Yes, hello everyone. It's nice to be here this evening. It's been a very busy week for me. I don't know about you guys, but I'm very happy to be here.
It's been a busy week for you?
It has been a busy week.
Unlike your normal weeks.
Oh, funny.
Well, that is like our tradition. You have like a script memorized at this point.
No, it's been an extra special or extra busy because I've been doing stuff outside of work. Work's been,
Work's busy, blah, blah, blah. My week's busy, blah, blah, right?
Right.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, you could say that. I got to hang out with some more people as the restrictions are lifting. Things are you're getting more opportunities to be more social. So I've jumped on the opportunities to do that. And I have a very busy after-work schedule now to go with my busy work. So It's all good. It's all good.
You're also passing up on some other social situations, as we had discussed earlier before the podcast. You had a prime golden opportunity to make a move on a young lady, and you declined to do so. Essentially, a woman at a bar bought you a beer, and you said, "Okay, thanks. See you later."
That is not exactly how it went, but it's
exactly
kind of how it went.
Sort of, maybe a fair characterization.
Yeah, she was the bartender, and it wasn't a pity beer though. It doesn't sound like. It sounds like she was trying to do you a favor, and you whiffed it.
I took the beer.
That's right. You did.
It was a beer to go.
You skedaddled. You said,
"Wow,
something that's free." Yeah.
Free beer.
Free.
That's as good as my free leftovers I scored for dinner for tonight.
Oh my goodness.
What'd you have for what or dinner tonight?
I had some. It was a pasta dish cooked up by one of my coworkers. It was really good, like Italian sausage and a like creamy vodka sauce. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Pretty similar to what I had this week. I made a baked gnocchi or gnocchi, however you want to say it. Hot debate with some ricotta cheese in there and some sausage and some ground beef, and then a little bit of our friend Newman's Own.
Very nice.
For the sauce.
Very nice.
Was our first comment on YouTube. Thank you, Newman's Own.
Oh, wow.
Continual blessing to us.
Yeah. Wow.
I was tickled. I didn't even know how to respond to that. I was so thrilled.
It's so nice. If I'm having a bad day within the last couple of weeks, I've remembered that, when you told us that, and that just brightens my day right up.
I know, a little ray of sunshine.
Turns it around, yeah.
It makes me feel like a traitor here because I actually specifically bought my cheap Aldi's spaghetti sauce.
Piece of shit.
To make a meal with, just to because I already had the Newman's Own. I want to do a little comparison.
And I threw 3 bottles of Newman's Own on the ground.
Wow.
Did no such thing.
And
Newman's
I deducted money from a charity.
I was very happy with Newman's Own. I gave it a good score.
You're stuffing your fingers in the little plastic food bank thing they have up front, the little clear plastic one. You evolved thinner fingers to reach in there and snake some cash out. Do you guys remember those things they used to have at McDonald's where you used to have to float the coins down onto the little...
Taco Bell, yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right. I remember them being at McDonald's when I was a kid, and I always wanted to do that, and my mom wouldn't let me because...
You float a coin? How do you do that?
You would drop it in a slot at the top, and there was water, and then there's these little platforms you had to rotate, and you had to try to drop it onto a platform at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you won something.
Yeah, you won a milkshake or a taco.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Okay, you won a milkshake. I'm sure, surely it wasn't money because that would have been gambling. But yeah, you're right. It was a milkshake or a burger or something.
It's actually pretty clever. I drove past a bar earlier this evening, and it was called Skill Games for Money. That was literally the name of the name of the bar, and I was like, "This sounds like a rigged thing in my mind." I was like, "This must be filled with just like nothing but carnival games." Exactly, where you're always destined to lose. But I'm sure it sucks people in because hey, you could get lucky, you could win some money,
and I think
win cash.
You're a ringer.
I'm a ringer.
That's right.
He's something. No, I think that's technically not a casino either, though, because I think if it's a skill-based thing and not a luck-based thing, that doesn't. There's no restrictions on that.
Oh, interesting.
What about you? How was your week this week, Tori?
Oh, well, it's been okay. I'm deeply, deeply saddened by the recent news of Daft Punk breaking up.
Ah, yes, that was a tragedy. I did see that.
Yeah, that occurred earlier this week, and I am just absolutely heartbroken over it. But I seen an interesting tweet that I'm gonna steal. But they didn't put out a record for 7 years, and just the other day they told us that they're quitting. I think that's inspirational. I mean, do absolutely jack shit nothing for 7 years.
Right. Yeah, they've
as if it wasn't assumed, and we make a big spectacle out of it. But I mean, it was heartbreaking nonetheless. Yeah,
Well, they did do some other like singles and stuff like that. With there's like some collaborations with some other artists, I think, right? Like they were
with
on
Pharrell, in recent history, and all that.
So I think they were still active, but I get what you're saying. They may have been. I don't know if they were doing some touring or something like that. So I could see that. But yeah, you have a good point. They were. I view them as like distinctly in that, 2010 era, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Been around for a long time, so that it's sad to see him go. But the artists themselves are in pretty good shape.
That's definitely your genre of music too.
No question. Yeah. I mean, if you really want to get into the it's French techno. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, if you want to get really nitty gritty, French techno, in my opinion, is above all else. French house, French techno. Got to be French.
And they are French.
They're Frenchmen.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought they were American singers.
No.
I know nothing about Daft Punk, so let me just play that out there.
Well, can you envision them at least like their shtick, right? They wear the helmets.
They wear helmets.
They're like robots.
Yeah, and that's their whole thing is that you're never supposed to see them without the faces. And that was kind of like that was a thing I'd read. They had the perfect setup. They could have just passed it along to some other pair of people that wanted to do it. No one would have been any the wiser.
Yeah, that's true. It's a funny story about that though. I've never actually seen a music video or a picture of anyone actually wearing a helmet. I've seen the cover art which features a helmet.
Yeah.
But when I was in school, our instructor
You mean Daft Punk, though? Or just any artist wearing a helmet ever? Because the way you phrased it made it sound like you'd never seen a music video first.
I'm sorry, no. Daft Punk in particular.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly sure, maybe 80% positive, that my instructor was actually commissioned by them to make one of their helmets for one of their, onshore,
nice.
on-stage events.
That's pretty cool.
So he made a carbon fiber, and it was like a TV head kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
cool.
So.
Oh yeah, I know. I think I can actually picture the one you're talking about. As a matter of fact,
it was wild. I saw it at in the shop at school being worked on, and learned about doing fiberglass. Essentially, it's fiberglass layup, but using carbon fiber to do so. And he did all kinds of the instructor did all kinds of experiments and whatnot, and really got a good understanding of how carbon fiber interacts with polyurethane resin. So it was neat.
Fascinating.
I mean, I know that sounds super boring, but
no, this is titillating. And this was, I assume that was the newest music that you listened to for the past, 30 years? You were listening to some Rolling Stones when you came in today.
Exactly, yeah. I was listening to, Cream and Kansas and Rolling Stones when you came in.
Although that's not true. You're also famously a fan of...
Imagine Dragons.
Imagine Dragons.
You've imagined far too many dragons,
Yeah,
sir.
he's imagined them into reality on the walls
they're on my walls,
yeah.
Exactly.
That's you don't actually like the music at all. You just like the name. Like, wow, I think I will Imagine Dragons.
Oh, I'm happy you suggested that.
The day hasn't come yet, but I don't have any tattoos yet of dragons. But
that's fair. So. You do frequently get made fun of by some of your coworkers at work for listening to them nonstop at work,
which is totally untrue. But
it's
yes,
still fun
I
to
get
pick
made
on you
of.
about.
Yeah, they get made fun of for the one out of every 100 songs that come up that's Imagine Dragons.
You want to do an impression for us?
Nope. No.
Hey! I was about ready to hit you with one. Yeah. Beep-a-dop-a-deep-a-dop believer.
Okay, we'll get sued for copyright infringement now.
Right.
This is going on YouTube,
That's
so we could potentially get flagged. If we did a pretty good authentic cover there just now.
Boy, that was on the money.
People could have misinterpreted that, but
speaking of all those beeps and bops and doing things in double, what was with that intro, Adam?
Oh, that was terrific. I thought that was great.
No, I think he's trying to give me a convenient segue, I think is what he's trying to do. Maybe I'm not ready for the segue yet. Did you ever think about that?
We're at our 10.5 minutes in perfect there, boss. I'm just following your rules.
I'm the boss, and you've suddenly taken over directing the podcast. I see how it is. No, this week we're actually doing Terry Ho's Yum Yum Sauce, the original Japanese steakhouse shrimp sauce. And I wanted to make this, I wanted to make a little comment earlier. I was going to call you Tori. I was going to call you Tori Ho, because if you look at the front of the bottle, in the script that Terry Ho is written in, it almost kind of looks like Tori Ho's.
I thought it was maybe a pirate sauce, as in tally-ho.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of yum yum, that would be yar yo ho.
Yarg. Yeah.
Yarg.
Something like that.
Yarg.
Yeah, Terry Hose. Yeah, the script is it's questionable, but I'll tell you what isn't questionable: the sauce.
The sauce. Yeah. Do you want to give us a little bit of a visual description, kind of the bottle we're looking at there, Eric?
Okay. It says bottle is actually it's not glass, right? Oh, hold on. Let me reach for it.
It's definitely squeezable.
Take the lid too before you do some damage to your tabletop here.
We have ourselves a plastic bottle. It's 16 fluid ounces, so it's kind of an interesting shape. It sort of reminds me of one of those single serve milk jugs, maybe.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, I could see that.
Yeah,
that's about the right size too.
It's about the right size, but it's really not. It has an interesting neck to it. It has all these wonderful little flutes in it, so it looks very fancy, sort of like a plastic chandelier-esque kind of a lampshade.
I think it gives away a certain glassiness.
It does. That's why. Yeah, I was questioning. I wasn't sure if it was glass or plastic. It's got a black screw-on cap. It says Terry Ho's Yum Yum Sauce, which we already. It says very nice little banner right across the top. It says the best sauce ever. I kind of like that. That's very bold.
They're not pulling any punches.
That's a bold
that's
statement,
for sure.
Right? Yeah.
That's a hard stance right there.
They're very clear about yes, you American like this sauce.
I got an interesting point on that, but all right. So
their powers of persuasion.
Yes.
So the label is bordered in red, and then it has a kind of a goldish banners top and bottom below the red, and then it has a white background where it says the name of the sauce and what it's for, and it also clearly states that it's gluten free multiple times on it, and it's also Adam's favorite color of sauce.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
This is as I've stated before, this is my classic pale orange color that I find one of my favorite sauce colors. Pretty much any sauce I get this color, I'm pretty sure I'm going to like, unless it's that roasted red pepper sauce from Hellman's that we had. That was a little bit of a letdown, but
yeah, that was French dressing.
That was also a lot darker.
Yeah, that was darker, really. I like this more, that pale orange color that this is, with
naturally occurring.
Yeah, naturally occurring, right? Like we've discussed before, nature's sauce color. And it's got the little red flecks in it. I don't know, Tori, did you want to give us a little more breakdown of the actual sauce in the bottle that we're looking at there?
Sure. Yeah, it was very runny, surprisingly runny. Not necessarily what I would expect from a sauce. Other sauces that are of that color. Yeah, so it really ran out of the bottle. It certainly had some red flecks to it. It's a creamy. I'm not sure if orange is the right color, if it is the right name for it. Maybe a peachy salmon in kind of like a salmon. Yeah, maybe an orangey pinkish. So it I think you nailed the bottle there with the flutes. I think that certainly makes it stand out. The single serve milk, you nailed it. It's yum squared. Yum to yum to the power of yum.
No one's checked yet. Is this sauce actually in date?
Ooh.
I did not check it. This was another John Eagle find this week that I just bought a couple of days ago, so we're really rolling the dice, okay?
Of course.
I didn't get any off notes about this, and I wanted to make another follow-up mention, too. We discussed this last week. I double-checked again. The Twisted Ranch cheddar popped jalapeno sauce is still not on the Giant Eagle shelves. Wow. And they, like I said, the sticker is still gone, and they've actually... I did a little bit better of a check on the shelves, and they've actually double-faced one of the sauces, and then the other two sauces they have next to it are single-faced. So they clearly nixed just that one flavor.
Someone got fired over that.
I hope so. They put a hurting on our podcast, and as we mentioned, that's our business, and if it's our business, I want to make it their business.
Oh, mama.
And can their asses.
I sincerely wonder if they pull it from the lineup of 5 and put another sauce in there. Did we happen to pick the number 5 of the top 5 sauces, and they decide something else is moved up, and they pull it from the lineup?
I don't think so. And the reason I think that is because they're still showing it. We saw it on the Twisted Ranch website. And not only that, but we even found it on Giant Eagle still. So I actually think maybe it was just this one in particular, like Tori had mentioned, this one in particular, Giant Eagle. But that's okay. We don't need to dwell on this anymore. We've already blasted them thoroughly enough. This sauce is in date, so we can move on with our lives and discuss this one a little bit more in depth.
Pretty soon, Giant Eagle will also be on the extinction list like other eagles. Oh, that was a stretch. I don't know.
Maybe condors or kiwis or something.
Yeah. Oh, kiwis are cool.
But yeah, so along those lines, like I said, we did find this at Giant Eagle. The price on this I wanted to mention, a little bit on the high side. This was, I believe, $5.49 for this bottle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of sticker shock looking at this, because like I said, you're not getting, you're getting a plastic bottle, and this is in, I would say, dangerously close to, glass bottle price range. That $6 mark is like, if it's getting above that and it's in a plastic bottle, it better be like in a gallon size. And this is, I think you're getting a fair volume of this sauce for the cost, but it is still a little pricey.
Oh, well, I think a great deal of a function of that being $6 is the name. Yum Yum sauce. I think that's I know maybe not in this circle, some of us, Adam, but yeah, I mean, for those who frequent, Japanese steakhouses, Yum Yum sauce, I mean, that's a hit.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit before the podcast. I'm not aware of ever had this consciously before. Eric had mentioned that it's quite possible that I had this drizzled onto some sushi before, and I didn't know that's what it was at the time. And after I tasted it, I think he might be right about that, but no. This style of sauce, I guess I learned today that Yum Yum, I always thought that was part of the brand, and I guess Yum Yum is actually the style of sauce, much like you might see a barbecue sauce. That's not a signature trademark for them. That's just the style of the sauce, I guess. So
that's true. I should clarify, this is actually Yum Yum's original sauce.
Well, yeah, no, but this is actually even the Terry Hose variety. That's actually the brand, I believe, is actually the Terry Hose Yum Yum. As a kind of like you would get like a Heinz barbecue. That is that is kind of the equation there, because I believe this was something that originally was, as I learned doing a little bit of research for this, I guess they initially developed this sauce for like Benihana's, I believe, specifically, which I've never been to a Benihana's, and I've never been to a Japanese hibachi style steakhouse.
Or like an Ichiban or anything like that?
No, never been to anything like that before.
Oh, wow.
Which seems right up my alley, and especially my girlfriend, too, being a lover of steak. I'm surprised, and Asian food. I'm surprised we've never been to a place like that, but...
Yeah, when's your birthday coming up? I think we need to schedule
we got a little while. That would be a good
steakhouse.
That would be a good choice then. Where's the nearest one of these to us in Pittsburgh?
Maybe Waterworks up 28.
Oh, Waterworks? Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. But yeah, no, this sauce, I guess, like I said, was originally developed, and the style of sauce is called Yum Yum, much like you would say barbecue or something like that.
Isn't
and
that
it was
something?
Developed for this type of restaurant, I guess.
So that implies that there's other Yum Yums outside of Terry Hose, right?
Oh, yeah. And actually, if you type Yum Yum into Google, because I was trying to find the website for this sauce, the first results that come up are actually just like home recipes to replicate it. It's not coming up with this brand immediately. I mean, obviously, that's one of the top results, because it is, I believe, at least the most popular of those available commercially. But yeah, it seems to be more traditionally like a homemade style sauce.
And are these, is Terry Ho the innovator of this sauce?
Oh, I would not go that far.
No? I think this was a thing. It seems to have been created based on what we were looking at earlier. It seems to have been created by the chefs who worked at these Japanese steakhouses when they first started coming over, and it's entirely a Western invention, invented for...
I figured as much.
Yeah, based on the name, if you couldn't tell that. That's not a translation for something. That is just... That was the words that they knew, and the sauce fucking tastes good, I guess, so...
That's super interesting, because... Yeah, it definitely has a Western flavoring to it, I would say.
Sure.
And even like when you go to get Chinese restaurant food, that's not like their everyday food at all. That's like their like celebration, like special kind of like special meals. Like that, they don't normally put that much sugar and
right.
Well,
I think it's kind of like their
foods.
interpretation of almost like junk food, like a la McDonald's type food to them. But
absolutely.
I think actually a lot of those dishes were created solely for the American market, and then some of them have actually gone full circle and gone back to China and gained popularity there, but they were never originated from, like, the styles of cooking, I think, did a lot.
Right, like the whole like stir fry,
flavors and spices, but
cooked in a wok with oil to
right.
certain oils and whatnot, certain vegetable cooking oils or certain vinegars, the rice vinegar.
So I think the styles definitely are a carryover to some extent, but I think by and large, the Chinese food that most people are traditional with, at least on the East Coast, is pretty far removed from traditional Chinese cuisine. Or Japanese, as the case may be for this, but
for this particular sauce, right?
No, you guys have both been to like Japanese style steakhouses, though, right? So why don't you give us a little more? Why don't you give me a little bit of an elaboration on, kind of the experience when you go in there? Because, like I said, as someone that's never been in there, maybe some listeners have never been in there, and they don't know what the shtick is.
I think it's terrific. I mean, first and foremost,
it's a blast.
Yeah, I mean, so you have a large group of people. You sit in a large U-shaped table, and there's someone who has a flat iron in front of you, and they just cook it up, and they do some trickery.
They do. They like to, once they're chopping up their vegetables and meats, they will put like one on a knife, and then like they have another knife, usually using two knives at the same time, and they hit the one knife with the food on and the other knife and pop the food up and try and get it in some people's mouths. I mean, that's always a fun gag.
Catch it in their hat.
Yeah, I was gonna say they throw the food at you, right?
Yeah.
If you're okay with that, that's a thing. Like they'll throw the shrimp in your mouth or something.
Oh yeah, it's a show, and their guys are real talented with their knives and
their oil. They like to set things on fire.
Yeah,
Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
So
okay,
it's always a good time, and the food's always delicious. I mean,
indeed.
Is it a longer meal? I imagine because of the showmanship.
I wouldn't.
By 20 minutes.
Yeah, I wouldn't
really?
say,
Okay.
far and away, from a regular sit-down meal. I mean, you sit down, you pick your protein, you super salad, question.
I do love a super salad.
And before you know it, they're wheeling out a whole mess of proteins for everyone.
We should mention for listeners a Pittsburgh salad. So some people, a thing that people maybe don't know about Pittsburgh, or maybe if you do know a couple things about Pittsburgh. One of the traditional things we do in Pittsburgh is people will put French fries on a salad, particularly like if it's a steak salad or something like that. They'll throw some French fries on a sandwich, a la Permanis, or they'll throw some fries on a salad, and that's just a thing that Pittsburghers do.
It's quite bizarre. I don't know.
I don't know if they do that at Japanese steakhouses, but
probably not. No.
This sauce would actually be a pretty good salad dressing on something like that. I could definitely see that, like on a steak with French fries.
No question. That's in my
salad.
That's on my notes here, and even dipped in a French fry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or a French fry dipped in it, I suppose, would make more sense. But
yeah, it does bear mentioning that we tried this week on chicken nuggets, which was a little bit controversial when I initially suggested it to the group. There's always been a little bit of it's a struggle with us because, as Eric had mentioned earlier, I make up a lot of these contrived, arbitrary rules, and then these two bastards have the audacity to try to hold me to these rules.
They're made to be broken. Rules are made to be broken.
I really only want to abide by them when it's convenient to me. But they continually throw those back in my face. But as we've mentioned before on the show, that one of my classic rules is that we try these sauces in the way that they're intended to be. If they're meant to be served room temperature or cold or hot, we try to do that accordingly. And we try to serve them on some semblance of an item, or at least something that is remotely suitable for their purpose. And you guys were taking a little bit of the piss out of me earlier because...
No. I only made the suggestion that we all like sashimi, sushi.
We should buy $50 worth
salmon.
of sushi.
Just salmon. I just wanted some salmon. That's all. I was in the mood for some damn good.
You were
fish.
trying to get us to get you a dinner on the business on the business account is what you were trying to do. That you want a little sushi dinner.
Sneaky E is always going to try something. That's pretty much a given.
Shitty. That's for damn sure. But no, this.
It's been a while since you called me a piece of shit. That's right.
Piece of shit.
That's how the podcast started.
We'll get it back in. No, but I think this is, it stayed on the bottle. This is more of a steak and seafood, and I think traditionally, conventionally used on like a sushi type thing. However, we tried it this week on chicken nuggets because I found on the website, in anticipation of some pushback from Eric,
calling me out.
I looked for recipes on the website, and I found one of the recipes, not the first one, but maybe 5 or 6 down, was actually a recipe just entitled chicken nuggets. And it was essentially just, you make chicken nuggets, you pour the sauce on top. So I felt justified in my decision. And as we learned, I don't think it was a bad choice.
Not at all. It's very tasty.
Semi-warm nuggets. The recipe does specify, which I don't know, a little weird.
Yours were a little more than semi-warm.
Yeah, mine were hot.
Scorched earth.
Yeah, I burned all the flesh off my fingers when I was trying these. Traditionally, I badger E about making his nuggets overdone because I don't like them when they're underdone. So,
tell you, they're appropriately crispy. I thought they were good.
Yeah, these were good. They had a little bit of the browning on the outside, which I'm a fan of, and that's usually where I like to get with them. But they did come fresh and hot out of the oven when we tried the sauce on them. So I definitely feel like we served it as suggested, at least. Maybe not, first couple suggestions, but I think we're on the ball point, as we like to say here.
On the ball point. There he is.
Is that ever going to die? That's like 5 episodes.
Not if we
now.
can keep bringing it back. Well, that's good. Why don't you lead us off there, Tori, with a little bit of your initial tasting notes on this sauce?
Sure. Yeah, I tasted it on the chicken, and I also tasted it on its own. And I thought they were two different experiences. On its own, I felt it to be a little bit more like you mentioned, like a slaw dressing.
Okay.
Like a coleslaw. It was watery enough to be mixed in with some loose cabbage and things like that, and I thought it would make sense. So it was really very reminiscent to a slaw dressing. I thought it tasted very slaw dressing-y. I got maybe some relish. I definitely also got some veggies as well. I know you mentioned peppers prior. I got a lot of celery. I got a great deal of celery out of there. But yeah, it had a really nice tang to it. But on the chicken, I thought it did the chicken a great deal of favors. Yeah, it just took what it had and it was ramped up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm pretty much in pretty much alignment with you there. I felt pretty much the same way. I definitely got some kind of vegetable notes out of it. I got more of like a fresh bell pepper, like a paprika type taste from it, and I think there's some flecks in there that might have been from that.
Maybe that's what those red flakes are, huh?
Could be. Yeah, very well could be. And but like I said, primarily like a mayonnaise type base, a little looser in consistency, which I like, and I could definitely see you using that like as a salad dressing or a dip or on a sandwich or a wrap or really anything. It's got a good consistency for that type of thing. And I definitely also got, and it says shrimp sauce on the outside, and I think that we'll get to the ingredients here later, but I don't think there's any actual shrimp in the sauce, but I distinctly got a shrimp, umami shellfish note from it pretty distinctly, too, and that might have just been the power of suggestion from seeing shrimp on the front. But even on a chicken nugget, that's what I was getting strongly. But I definitely think you're right on the fact that it's more, as Eric likes to say, it's more of a flavor enhancer than it really is having a lot of flavor on its own. It's not something that you could just dip your fingers in like a good barbecue sauce or something. It's not like a finger licking sauce. It definitely does bump up the flavor of whatever the underlying ingredient is. These were pretty bog standard chicken nuggets, which I don't typically get too excited about. And I think it really amplified it up to something that I was like, damn, these are pretty good.
Yeah.
And they were perfectly cooked, so I'll give a little kudos to Eric there as well. But, yeah, I think the sauce...
20 episodes in, I'd hope so. I'm getting 20. There. I'm getting there.
Well, you've had some good ones a couple times before.
You made mention on the paprika, and now we know that you are the paprika pappy.
I am the paprika boy. Yeah, I'm a big fan of paprika in my cooking, particularly if I can use a smoked paprika.
So allow me to ask you this. How much paprika... Because I always was under the impression that paprika really didn't have any taste. It was all just more or less a coloring.
Right.
How much paprika do you need to put into something like this to achieve a noticeable flavor?
Quite a bit. And I think that's a lot of the common misconception people get, because it does lend color a long time before it lends flavor, particularly if you get kind of like the cheapest version of plain paprika that you can get from, like a grocery store, especially if you get it from something like a Big Lots, which I'm a big fan of Big Lots, as we mentioned before. I used to work there, so that's not dissing at all, but they typically have your cheaper ingredients there. And I think a lot of those are the things with herbs and spices like that is that they can't be overly dried and old because they do tend to lose flavor over time. But being with this is a light orange sauce, let's say this started off white with some mayo, I definitely could see 100% of that color being from paprika. And I know, for me personally, the smoked paprika, that definitely tends to have a lot more flavor because it's got that smokiness added to it. But if you buy a good paprika, and you can get paprikas in all varieties of heat levels too, in addition to flavor intensities, and if you get a good one, you definitely notice more of that bell pepper taste pretty quick.
More spice to it, right? A little more zing to it.
Yeah, and there's Cayenne, which you can get, which is kind of similar, but a little bit of a different thing. But there's also, like I said, you can just get, I believe paprika, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm going to take a hard stance anyways. Cayenne is made more from like the red pepper flake and seed and stuff like that, kind of finely ground, whereas I believe paprikas are made just from the flesh of the pepper. So you can have a hotter pepper that's just the flesh. And as we had mentioned before, most peppers get a lot of that heat from the rind and the pith and the seeds, as opposed to, like I said, the flesh, which tends to be a little bit milder. So I believe that's the difference, is that paprika comes from the flesh of the pepper.
And you don't want to put a volume using your expertise here? Like you're saying 1 tablespoon per 16 fluid ounces?
You know what? I am terrible. A lot of people that I find that are people that cook a lot fall into that bad habit of not measuring their seasonings. I am guilty as hell of that, where I don't measure anything, so I couldn't even begin to tell you. I would, if I was doing something like this, making this, I would shake it in and stir it until I got the color I liked.
Interesting.
Probably tasting along the way.
As far as taste for me, I would have to agree with everything you guys were saying. The sauce is it's good, but it's not great on its own. It definitely, like I said, flavor enhances. It really amps up what it's being put on. It's definitely it's creamy. I said slightly, slight, it has a taste. It tastes light. It tastes the way
yes,
like the way a sauce,
a cloud should taste,
like a spring flower after the morning dew has evaporated.
Yeah, essentially, it's the way a sauce wants to be, like the beginnings of a good sauce, but it just doesn't quite get to the level that you would expect, like you said, like a barbecue or something, where you can really just eat it by the spoonful.
Right.
When I did try it by itself, I found it interesting that there was a grittiness of seasonings that I was tasting. I could actually, I'm notorious for over chewing. I will happily
You sit there smacking your teeth away at us.
grind on the strawberry seeds. On one strawberry will last me a good 10 minutes to just chewing.
All your coworkers are ready to murder you. We made a joke last week where we were listening to, for the listeners that aren't familiar, there's a popular YouTube sensation known as Mouth Dreams.
Oh, yes.
Which you guys should all definitely check out. It's a pretty interesting little mishmash of sounds and music from yesteryear, and it's a really entertaining soundtrack to listen to. But I thought of that last week because I was listening to Eric eat something, and I thought of Mouth Sounds, which is what another one of your coworkers also dubbed you was Mouth Sounds E.
I can only wonder which one. Yeah.
But anyways, well, no, she said that to you, didn't she? That you were the one that told me that. Was that she brought that up? Oh, because you were listening to Mouth Dreams and you said Mouth Sounds, and she said your Mouth Sounds.
Yeah.
That's right.
I opened the window for her.
Okay.
To just sock me right in the face.
As you do, a glutton for punishment. And that's why you keep showing up here every week. Why you keep allowing us to show up?
Right,
I should
we
say.
Keep showing up.
Keep unlocking the door for us in any case.
Keep letting you guys in to continue the silliness. But one of the things that was really interesting about the sauce is, now I'm gonna be upfront here and honest.
Uh-oh.
There was some research that was done beforehand on the homemade recipes. So there's a link to this sauce, or there's a strong tie of similarity between this and McDonald's special sauce.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was actually thinking earlier, this is in many ways, especially color, reminiscent of that Big Mac sauce.
Exactly.
And I was also thinking that it
Big
shares...
Mac sauce. Which one came first? Because I really don't... Obviously, I don't know my fast food. Is it McDonald's and their special sauce, or is it Burger King and their Mac sauce?
Dude,
Mac sauce?
You effed it all up, bro.
Did I?
Special sauce is McDonald's, which is Big Mac sauce.
Right.
It's all one and the same.
It is Big Mac sauce.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's technically called special sauce.
Yeah.
But they put it on the Big Macs.
2 all beef patty special, the whole song.
Huh.
Right.
Why did I think Big Macs were from a Burger King?
Burger King's doing the Whopper, man. They're out there doing their flame broiled thing.
Yeah, and they
That's
think
right.
Burger King does have a sauce like that they made for like a Big Mac knockoff, but that came much later. Actually, I was going to say that Burger King has the zesty sauce that we previously reviewed, which is almost identical to this in appearance, but pretty different flavor profile.
Yeah, no question. That was different.
It's different flavor. Yeah. I think maybe the zesty sauce uses a little more like the smoked paprika that you were talking about.
Well, the
earlier.
zesty sauce, if you guys recall, is very heavy on the horseradish,
Horseradish,
which this has none of.
I didn't say it was
absolutely
heavy,
not.
but it definitely had some.
Well, compared to this, it was
Compared to
absolutely.
this,
I mean,
absolutely.
the zesty sauce is distinctly very, and this is kind of what I was thinking earlier. Like you were mentioning, it's a light sauce. And this is very much like I'd said, like a flavor enhancer. It doesn't really stand on its own, which is good. I mean, it boosts up. You want a sauce, it should complement the food. And I think this is in many ways a lot like Miracle Whip, where if you have Miracle Whip on its own, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, it's basically fucking mayo,
With a tang.
But if you put it on something like a nice turkey sandwich, especially with some bacon or something on there, it can really amp that up and sing on its own.
For sure.
I think that in many ways is very similar to this in that it's kind of plain on its own, but if you throw it on some other stuff, it can really help it knock it out of the park.
Really rev it up. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the base copycat recipes out there basically take mayo and take ketchup and then add garlic and, onion and paprika.
See, I think they're throwing the ketchup in for color, and I actually think that's a mistake in this recipe because the thing that you're getting from ketchup is you're getting sugar, which I don't know if we mentioned this yet, but there is a distinct sweetness to the sauce as well. I got at least.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely a distinct sweetness to it as well, which is pleasant. You could get that from the ketchup, but ketchup has a lot of vinegar and salt to offset, and I can definitely see salt in this, but I'm not getting any of the vinegar whatsoever.
No, not getting the vinegar.
I actually think you'd be better off using the paprika to achieve the color you're looking for and just totally nixing the ketchup.
You don't think that mayo's just cutting that vinegar down to the point where you don't notice it?
I don't know. I don't see. There could be some. I would be surprised if there's not vinegar in this because I think that would be our first sauce that didn't have vinegar, but I am not getting any strong vinegar notes whatsoever.
No, I'm getting nothing like that.
Eric's itching. He's literally scratching at his arms to be able to read the ingredients, so we'll let him read the ingredients. Go ahead, Eric. Read your ingredients.
All right. First ingredient is soybean oil.
First ingredient, vinegar. No.
Then water, corn syrup, egg yolks, distilled, and cider vinegar.
Okay.
So it's pretty up there. You got salt, mustard seed, calcium, disodium, EDTA.
That's my favorite one.
Oh, good.
That's my favorite disodium.
Really? Sugar, tomato paste, garlic, hot sauce, which has cayenne peppers.
Really? Hot
and
sauce?
More distilled vinegar and salt, and then has lactic acid and then paprika. So paprika is actually fairly low on the list.
All right. I definitely got it. I definitely got that. Maybe it's my taste buds have been trained to detect paprika, or maybe they're using a particularly high quality one.
Maybe.
And then they got some chemicals for the rest of it to round it out to make it shelf stable.
Give us some chemicals. Read us some chemicals.
Polysorbate 80. Sodium benzate.
Ooh.
Potassium sorbate.
Very good.
Xanthan gum.
Xanthan gum.
Xanthem's in
we
there.
love that.
Oh, perfect.
The
See,
big X.
we know what that one does now.
Natural source vitamin E.
Vitamin E. Well, I think that's
just healthy for
vitamin
your
E
skin.
is that fish oil, right?
Yeah, it's healthy. It's health food.
And
So-
maybe that's the fishiness you're tasting. You're tasting the vitamin E connection there.
There was no fish, anything like that, even remotely in this sauce, right? Yeah, so that must have just been totally my imagination, but I definitely got like that shellfish. You guys have like a fish stock? You know what I mean? Like if you have like
I know what
soup,
you're talking about.
that fish stock. That's what I'm getting from this.
And maybe by power suggestion, you keep saying it, and I keep going, yeah, maybe. I kind of taste it.
I didn't taste it so much on its own. I tasted it primarily on the chicken nuggets, so that might have been part of that flavor thing. I don't know.
I prefer it on
It's what
seafood.
Tyson's putting in their chicken.
Could be.
Could be, yeah.
Quote-unquote chicken product.
But I prefer this sauce on seafood, personally.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely could see it being really good on some seafood. I mean, like I said, I think I have had this drizzled on sushi before after seeing it today and tasting it. And I do like it in that. And I could definitely see it being really good on steak as well.
Shrimp, yeah.
And
Terrific on shrimp.
yeah, like I said,
Scallops. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, scallops I could really see being good on this. Because they have a subtle flavor which would benefit from that boost.
Oh, yeah.
It would definitely benefit from the boost. Yeah, scallops do have a very subtle flavor. I think I would almost be leery to drown it in it. You know, I think a little moderation here with the yum yum sauce would be wise.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think that's a mistake that people can make is kind of going overboard with this. I don't want to go into too much detail because this is a traumatic memory from my past that I shared with you guys privately earlier, but I have bore witness to the atrocities that can commence when this sauce is overused, and I still may be recovering from some of the...
Yeah, you mentioned you didn't want to talk about it, so I wasn't leading up to that. I know it may have sounded like a segue.
Don't overuse the sauce is all we're trying to say.
Yeah, don't overuse the sauce, and we're here for you, bro.
As we had mentioned, one of the things that really sets me off, like I generally am a pretty strong stomach, and I don't have any kind of reaction to blood and gore and anything like that, but the one thing that really turns me sour is like gross food stuff. Like,
mouth sounds.
Yeah, mouth sounds and things like that. That really, and that's been ever since I was a kid, because I remember in kindergarten, there was a girl I was in kindergarten with, and she I was not a fan of onion rings when I was a kid, and I think most kids are not. Lots of kids are not.
Tragedy. I love onion rings.
Well, I love onion rings now too. I think they're phenomenal. But we had gotten them for a part of our lunch for school, and if we got onion rings, I didn't eat them. I didn't eat onions when I was a kid. I was a bit of a picky kid, as a lot of kids are. And one of this girl liked them a lot, but she liked to kind of dissect them. She was a food dissector, which I've never liked.
Ew.
I know that goes along with those things. So she had actually pulled the limp onion out of the onion skin and was wiggling it around in front of me, saying, "Oh, look at him! It's like a worm! Oh, look!" And then took it and slurped it in her mouth like the grubs from a Lion King movie. You know, when they have they pull up the bark and get the grubs, and they go, and they suck this. She sucked this onion down, and I promptly puked all over the place. And I got in trouble for puking. And I said, how could I get in trouble for that? It was her. She made me.
You got in trouble for puking.
Yeah, she didn't understand me, so
I have
troubled youth.
I have my own tragic story to share about this sauce, honestly, because I went to, I like to go out, I like to socialize, and I was having sushi with friends, and my one friend had ordered extra side of yum yum sauce. And I don't say, it might have been my sister, I can't remember. Somebody had ordered extra yum yum sauce for the table, and it came out in a little dipping dish, and people were just dipping their sushi into it. And I was like, oh, well, this is interesting. So I went ahead and tried it, and I tried one, and I was done. I was like, no, too much. That's just like, it's not a bad sauce, but I like sushi for the way it is.
Right.
I like a little bit of soy sauce on it, and honestly, just down the hatch it goes. It's delicious.
I'm much more a fan of that eel sauce. I don't know.
Yeah,
eel sauce is good.
Yeah. Eel sauce is like if we go to a Chinese or like a sushi place, that is a must-have for me. And I will say, as much as I like this yum yum sauce for sushi, eel sauce is definitely going for that eel sauce.
I think the eel sauce is a lot saltier too. It almost like replaces the need of putting any of the
soy sauce.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, the soy sauce is too runny too. I mean, that's what I like about the eel sauce. Is it's got a little more staying power, so I can kind of load it up.
Yeah, a little thicker.
Right.
And it's also got some more of those umami type flavors. And soy sauce is an umami bomb on its own. But I definitely like how it's not quite as runny, and it's got almost like a seaweedy flavor. If you guys are familiar with that, I kind of like that flavor as well.
I hope someday that sauce graces our podcast.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Here's a fun fact of the day for you guys. Do you know one of the biggest uses for seaweed, and this was a statistic years ago, it may have changed since then, is that it's gotten more of a popular item for Americans to eat, but the biggest uses for seaweed was in ice cream.
Wow.
Yeah, that for whatever reason they used ice cream they used seaweed in the process of making most commercial ice creams for a while. I'll look it up here and see what the reason was for that, but there was actually
it's a fascinating little factoid for you.
They need it in there for some like kind of shelf stabilization or something like that.
Dang. I thought you were going to say something crazy like making like office paper or something.
You ever had that dried seaweed that it's like looks like sheets of paper?
And for you to eat, for you to roll sushi up in.
Yeah, well, you can roll sushi up in it, but you can also I don't know. I think you could possibly bake it and make like a sushi brittle out of it or something.
Oh wow!
I don't know. The sushi can be consumed in a variety of ways, and now we're about to find out even in ice cream.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I pulled this up for us, and basically, as it boils down to, similar to the xanthan gum, it's basically just used as a thickener in the ice cream. So
holla at polysaccharides.
Holla at the polysaccharides. Yes, that's a big use for seaweed in the United States. I think it said specifically the red seaweed.
I'll be darned.
I know I've talked many times about my 3D printer on the show here, but
you have?
The most common printing filament is PLA, which is polyacetate or polylactic acid. Sorry, but anyways, it's interesting because it's using basically plant matter. It's fully biodegradable, so I don't know how close that would be to your.
Is it made out of seaweed?
Is it a green product?
It is a green product.
Wow, okay, all right. Environmentally friendly. You were recycling some paper earlier when we walked in, so kudos for you.
I try.
Despite NPR telling me of questionable benefits of recycling.
Yep, I hear that too. There's lots of news that says it's really not
okay.
that.
That's okay. Just, if everyone just tries to do their best, that's all we can ask.
I think so.
Right.
Fuck you, NPR, for asking more of us. Holding us to a higher standard.
We love you, NPR.
That's okay.
We sponsor us.
We follow them on Instagram, so hopefully they don't hear that, but I'm sure that they won't. In any case, Eric, you want to lead us off with your rating for this sauce? You ready to do that?
I will be as soon as I.
You're not ready. You're panicking now.
Uh-oh.
Come on,
Tori,
E.
would you like to do your rating first instead? If you know what you'd like to, I put E on the spot there a little bit. I guess he called us out when we weren't getting to the sauce name fast enough, but he failed to realize that we're getting to the ratings portion of the show. So
yeah, I'll certainly give it my rating. Yeah, I mean, to me, it almost seemed like a different sauce because when I have had this sauce, it was on higher end seafood, your shrimps, scallops, things of that nature. Not to say that these chicken nuggets weren't the epitome of high-end cuisine, chef's kiss.
Brand. They're Tyson.
They're Tyson,
They
bro.
were a brand name. They've also been in the freezer for what?
A year at
Yeah.
least. Yeah.
Oh boy, but so not to take anything away from those delightful chicken nuggets, but I thought it was sort of a different sauce. Maybe it's the restaurant experience playing that. Who knows? Because it's friendly, you're laughing, it's fun. I don't know, but by that token, I think an 8 is a very, very fair score. I mean, I like it, of course. I'm not in love with it, but I would dip a fry in it, and it's certainly way better than average. So yeah, I think an 8 is a good one for me.
Cool. Are you
fair.
Are you ready, Eric, or would you like me to go next?
No, I'm ready.
Okay.
I don't want to be too tainted by your thoughts too, but
Right.
and honestly, I'm gonna stick to my guns here. I think when he first called me on, and I was thinking
He's gonna give it
a pretty
a 3.
low score, honestly.
Oh
but
my God!
You're gonna give it a 5.
You didn't even try it, and you're already thinking of
Average.
giving it a low score.
No.
Well, if he's not going to let me try it on sushi, I'm going to give it a 2.
I've had
If he
the
doesn't
sauce,
cook me a steak, I'm giving it a 1.5.
I've had the sauce many a times. I never had it really on steak.
Have you ever had it out of a bottle before?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there could be some, recipe variations. So I don't know if you ever had this particular one.
I don't know if I had this particular brand, but I've had it out of a bottle, poured right in front of me.
Okay. Poured directly into your mouth.
Not quite.
Fuck me up.
You see, the problem is I do like ketchup, right? And we use ketchup as our number 5. So,
Right.
do I feel like this was that much more enjoyable on a chicken nugget than ketchup was? I don't. I will give it a 6 because
Wow.
it's good for what it could be on certain seafoods and whatnot. I know it can really enhance the flavor of, but it's nothing super exciting. And I think ketchup is good, and ketchup's a 5. So, I feel like it has to be around that ranking.
Okay.
Wow.
So I'm gonna give it a 6.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I think you both made some really fair points there. And actually, I was initially vacillating between an 8 and a 9. And I think, Eric, you made some really valid points there as opposed to being on, do I really like this more than ketchup? And I think on a chicken nugget, I'm a little bit torn. I'm a little bit bored of the whole ketchup on nugget thing. I would probably go for this at this current moment just because...
Even dipping, what about fries?
Yeah, no, I think, like I said, for the novelty of it, I would definitely try this. Sometimes I buy sauces just to give me a break from ketchup. So
Sure.
I don't want to give it too high of a rating because of that, just because of the novelty of it over ketchup. And I do see what you're saying, but here's a counterpoint I will make is that, we did try it on nuggets, and you guys can cast whatever blame on me for that. I stand by it. And as I
It
usually
wasn't filet mignon? What the hell?
As I usually
was
do.
very good.
Yeah,
I'm going to stand by it and say I was right.
You didn't bring your stovetop and grill
I'm
up
going to
some
say I was right.
$30 fillets for us? What the hell?
But I do think to the point that they're making, they are using it primarily they label it as a steak and shrimp or seafood or sushi in this case. And I think one of the things you have to note about this sauce is what we said earlier is that it is subtle. It is a flavor enhancer. It doesn't overpower anything. It's a trusty sidekick to these types of foods. And I think those types of foods, people are eating them because of their own flavor, and they don't want something to overpower them. So, yes,
That's the point. Yeah.
on a chicken nugget, I think, yeah, okay, you don't really give a shit what flavoring the chicken nugget takes on, because the point of that is to load it with as much sauce as you can. It is essentially, they're spoon-shaped, essentially, because you're trying to load the sauce onto them to shovel it into your gullet as fast as possible.
You're speaking from many years of experience there.
Absolutely. I'm actually drooling a little bit as I was saying that. But no, for its intended purpose, I think it's nailing it. On a steak, it would just give it a little bit of that boost. Sushi, a lot of subtle flavors going on in sushi that you really can't appreciate. I'm guilty of that with my eel sauce. Sometimes I overpower it. I think this would be a nice, pleasant change of pace to boost it up a little bit without overpowering it. And the same thing with shrimp. Another very subtle, or like we had mentioned, scallops, very subtle flavors that you don't want to overpower. I'm going to come right in with Tori and give it an 8. And I think that's well deserved. It's not, like I said, it's kind of the problem that I had with a little bit of the Paul Newman's, which I think I may also have given an 8, is that it's not really flying out on its own, and really, setting any landmarks, essentially. But it is a good booster, and I think it has its place, and it's doing a fine job of that. I don't want to give it any lower than that, because I struggle to think of how you could use ketchup in that type of like a booster manner. There's very few, like ketchup is...
You gonna put ketchup on your scallops?
That's what I'm getting at. Ketchup is a good flavor, but it's not subtle, I wouldn't say. Like, people think it's kind of boring sometimes, but with all that vinegar, salt, sweetness, nothing you put ketchup on is going to be assisted by it. It will be an overpowering flavor.
For sure. Ketchup packs a punch. I just wonder, I'd be interested to see what kind of doors would open, or what kind of a rank would be issued to a spicy yum yum sauce or one of the other flavors that has a little more punch, So if you're saying this is an 8 and this is just the original,
right?
You give something that has a little more zing to it, a little more spice, a little more garlic, a little more heat, or a little more sweet and sour, something to give it a little more creativity. You're saying that's going to be a 9, a 10?
Well, I think that's a good point that you make too, because we should at least touch on that on the website. And this was news to me. I'm familiar with this traditional yum yum sauce, and I did see at Giant Eagle they had a spicy yum yum, which I think may have been in a slightly smaller bottle, also for $5.49, but they have a host of other sauces on the website. Do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown of what they have there on the lineup, Eric?
Sure. There's a yum yum ranch. Probably has to be better than our twisted ranch.
I didn't see that one in stores, so maybe they can't keep it in date.
A light yum yum sauce, which is surprising. How could you get much lighter than we already have? A zum, that's with a Z there, dipping sauce.
I assume the light was like light mayo, like light calorie, as opposed to being light flavored.
Light flavor. Gotcha.
Yeah. Come on, E. You didn't put that together. You dork.
Yeah, the zum, it says gluten-free on it. I'm not really sure what it is other than
so
that.
So is this one.
It is? Okay.
It's also the best sauce ever. I think all of Terry Ho's apparently make the claim.
They don't give you a whole lot of description on the zum sauce.
No, I'd be interested to try it out, see what the heck they have. They also have a Terry Ho's stir fry, a sweet and sour, a Japanese ginger salad. Now that sounds really interesting.
That would be
salad
good.
Dressing.
Yeah, that would be really
That sounds good. As we mentioned, a good consistency. This one for a salad.
Yeah. A spicy yum yum, which I'd definitely be interested in trying.
Right, I would definitely try that too.
And then a General So's, and I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Is that what you guys say? So's? Okay. And teriyaki sauce.
They spell it a little differently on here. They spell it with an A. They spell it T-S-A-O, but I think that's another Americanism, so you can kind of do whatever you want with it. But traditionally spelled T-S-O, General So's.
Yeah.
No, I think this is a little bit of a paradox, because without having tried it, I actually think I would probably like the spicy yum yum sauce better, but I would probably actually rate it lower. Kind of for what I'm saying there, because I said I'm giving this kind of bonus points for accomplishing a purpose well, and I think the spicy one would be less accomplishing that purpose.
So
and
you're giving it points for being more universally acceptable and more universally applied.
Not universally acceptable, because I don't think it's universal. What I'm saying is that it's achieving a purpose, which is to be a flavor booster for delicately flavored other foods. Whereas a spicy one's going to cover up more of those flavors. I might like the spicy one more on its own, on like a chicken nugget or a fry or something like that. But the corollary to that is that it's not going to be as good on a shrimp or a steak or a sushi, something like that. And so I would be closer to your rating, Eric, where you're rating it closer to like a ketchup. I think that's where I would have to put it. It's a stronger flavor. It's accomplishing that purpose less. It's still good. I might like it better, but it'll be worse at accomplishing that purpose, which is what I'm giving it those points for.
Say, I like shrimp. I'll eat shrimp by itself without anything. But
I will too.
If you give me a bowl of yum yum sauce and a bowl of cocktail sauce, I'm going for the cocktail sauce.
Huh. Well, see, that's tricky too, because I think generally cocktail sauce is
horseradish.
Well, no, but it's often with cocktail shrimp.
Right.
Not a lot of other flavor on their own.
Grilled shrimp, yeah.
And I think, especially served cold like that, I think a lot of seafood, you really have to heat up to get any flavor on its own. Like cold shrimp doesn't have a whole lot of flavor, really, cocktail shrimp. I think that's better served for like a cocktail sauce where, like I said, or even if you want to go farther the other direction and have like a fried shrimp, like a battered fried popcorn shrimp or a coconut shrimp or something like that. Yeah, I get on board with your because you need that vinegar and stuff to kind of cut the oils out of that. But I think if you just had like a grilled shrimp, a warm, plain grilled shrimp, I think that's where this Yum Yum sauce shines.
No doubt.
I could see that.
I think that's its purpose.
Or even
Yep.
just squeeze some lime juice over that grilled shrimp is probably really good too. If you put a little seasonings on it when you're cooking it.
And that's what I'm saying though, because you could have a sauce like this without interrupting those other flavors, and that's kind of what I'm saying. That's why I think it's fulfilling that purpose so well.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, we always say, judge a sauce on what it is. I think this sauce is great for what it is, but for those reasons you just mentioned, it's an accompaniment.
Yeah, like I said, there's some sauces which straight up just earn, a phenomenal rating for me just because of the flavor alone. I don't give a shit anything else. But like I said, this one, I don't think it's going to win any awards on its flavor necessarily on its own, but for what it's doing there, what it's accomplishing, that's where all its points are coming from as far as I'm concerned. Otherwise, like you said, Eric, yeah, I mean, it might be down there for, an honest rating for me might be, a 5, but then it's getting those bonus points to boost it up to an 8 for accomplishing a purpose so well.
But we are all definitely 100% clear. It's not the best sauce ever.
No, I think that's quite the claim.
Again, I think, they by that very own nature, they had 7, 8 sauces on their website that all claim to be the best sauce ever, so...
That's just a marketing strategy, which is fine.
Yeah, well, I think that's actually part of their little slogan thing, and I actually think that was kind of like an immigrant marketing thing was just they had to be almost hyperbolic about it because... They got to stand out in the crowd somehow. They don't necessarily have a firm grasp of the language when they first immigrate, so that's what they kind of have to reach for is just, hyperbole and get their name out there. So I think saying, Yum Yum, best sauce ever, they're like, hey, make no mistake, try this, you stupid American. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of where they're going for.
You won't regret it.
And we didn't. I don't think any of us regretted the sauce tonight.
Not one bit.
I, for one, like I said, I had some painful memories of this sauce in my past, and I think this little tasting tonight kind of helped me overcome those, and I'm very thankful for that.
Oh, very good. Turn the corner. Well, I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up for our review on Yum Yum Terry Ho's, in this case, Tory Ho's, Yum Yum sauce, the original. And Eric, do you have any closing thoughts you'd like to share with us?
Maybe along the lines of that whole best sauce ever, talk it up and, just be positive. I think a positive outlook in life is just a really important thing and having that confidence, which I lacked earlier this evening, but that's all right. Have that confidence and, make the best out of what you have. So that's it. That's all the wholesome message I got. I'll pass off to Tori for the professional one.
Wow.
I know everyone gets the joy of listening to the end of the podcast by hearing Tori.
I bet. Well, I'm still upset about my robot musician friends, Daft Punk.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna frame this final message, this goodbye message, with those fellas in mind. And it's a shame, but all good things must come to an end. Much like this podcast, much like this delicious sauce, it all must come to an end. But remember that all ends is just another door, it's just another beginning. So it can only get better from there. So of course we appreciate you listening. Thank you for stopping by. We'll be here next week, we promise, barring some catastrophe. But yeah, thank you for listening and good night to you.
Yeah, and as always, we can't thank you guys enough for listening to us. If you'd like to help us out, some of the ways to do that, one of the best things you can do is just, hey, tell a friend, get them listening. The more people listen to us, the more people see us, and then the easier it is for us to keep doing this kind of thing for you. If you want to stop over to like an iTunes or an Apple Podcast and give us a rating or a review there, that really helps us out. Or give us a follow on Spotify or whatever listening platform you're hearing us on. If you'd like to go a step beyond that, we actually recently got a PayPal. If you guys would like to donate to us, we'll put details of that in the show notes. And you guys, if you like anything, even $1 helps us out. You don't certainly you don't have to. We want to keep providing this show to free for you guys because we enjoy doing it. We hope you guys listening. But if you'd like to donate to us, we'll certainly get that in the show notes for you. As always, if you care to stop over to the website, you can get a little bit of information on our proprietary cryptocurrency and how you can take part in that as well with us, that fun little experiment. And lastly, we're going to start running a little bit of a sticker campaign. We recently got some, Tori took the initiative to go ahead and get some stickers printed up for us, and we want to send a number of people. I'm thinking maybe like the first 100 people or so to reach out to us. If you'd like a sticker, go ahead and let us know, and we'll send you a sticker free of charge. We'll be happy to do that. That'll be a fun little thing for us. So just feel free to reach out to us at softspoken@gmail.com. or on one of our other social media platforms, and we'll try to hook you up with that.
Yeah, take a picture. If you end up sticking your sticker somewhere, take a picture of it and tag us on Instagram. We would love to see it.
Absolutely. We really appreciate that, guys. So once again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Hey there, that was a really good episode, and we really appreciate you listening all the way to the end. We'd really appreciate to hear your comments and suggestions, and we can be reached at softSpoken@gmail.com. From time to time, we like to put up pictures on Instagram. Feel free to follow us there at SoftSpokenOfficial. And lastly, we would love it if you could give us some ratings and reviews on whatever platform you're listening to. Thanks again. Make sure to catch us next week. This is Soft Spoken.